You are now tuned into Mixstation Radio Live. The views and the opinions of the guests and the hosts you hear on Mixstation Radio Live are not necessarily those of the staff and the management of Mixstation Radio Live, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Hey, I want to start a podcast.
Join the mix.
Can I broadcast to millions all over the world?
Join the mix.
Can I control my own content and share my show?
Join the mix.
Can I promote my product and my events?
Join the mix. Mixstation Radio is a worldwide internet radio station that specializes in video and audio podcasts on all social media platforms. You can download our free app, Mixstation Radio Live. That's MIXX Station Radio Live. We have 2 locations in Tulsa, Maryland, and Eastern Shore, Maryland. With our new service, you can host your own show from home with Mix Mobile. That's MIXX Mobile.
Did you say I can broadcast from home?
Yes, we have a new service called Mix Mobile. We can come to your location or you can log on virtually.
Hold up. That can't be true, man.
Yes, Mixstation can air any show from anywhere in the world, and all you need is a strong internet connection. Also, we have a toll-free 1-800 number.
So you're telling me I can stream on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the formats all at the same time and have people calling with comments?
Yes, join the mix. If you want to join the mix, email us at mixstation@gmail.com. Again, mixstation@gmail.com. That's MIXX station@gmail.com.
All right. Good evening, Facebookers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, and everybody else out there in Radio Land. You're tuned in live to Intimate Connections. I am your host, Queen Jackie, and to my left,
Yeah, my mic. Hey.
her mic sounds nice or not? And then my other co-host at the end of the table.
What up, everybody? It's JS Quiet here.
And then we have a guest co-host. He is the Coyote Man. Oh!
What's up? Glad to be back here again. Always feel good to be a part of this radio station and this radio show.
So we got a great topic tonight, one that we haven't explored on this show. So our topic tonight is polygamy. Interestingly enough, after doing some research, in 2023, there are approximately 60,000 polygamous couples or polygamous families. But a lot of them are under the radar because it is technically against the law, but they do exist. So our guest tonight is Miss Lucy. She grew up in a polygamous family, so she's here to shed some light on the culture and even go into, I guess, more of the specifics and why she didn't choose a polygamy lifestyle for herself. So we're going to get into all of that. The idea of the show tonight is to provide as much accurate information as we can in the event that some of you out there in Radio Land might have interest in pursuing a polygamy lifestyle, monogamous lifestyle, polyamorous, or whatever it is that floats your boat, in a sense. So we're going to get started. And Lucy, before you get started with polygamy, you can tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hi. Well, hello, everyone on Radio Land, and hi, Lynette, my friend. So I'm Lucy. My actual full name is Lucy Kello, but that's too long. So it was cut short real fast when I got to the United States. So it's Lucy Kello, Mwisho Mbisa. Lucy Kello means joy, and Mwisho means the end. So my dad got it right at number 33. Let's see. So I'm from Malawi. And as you know, like I just said, I'm from a polygamous family. We have 5 moms. Most of them are deceased now because my dad, when he had me, was 72. And he passed away when he was 89. Let's see. I grew up everywhere. I was in Ethiopia, Canada, West Orange, New Jersey, Howard University. That's where I end up coming to school. And then I end up liking this area and just staying around here.
Okay, so for you growing up in a polygamous family, describe how that was for you.
Well, so, it's funny. When we started talking, you and I and Lynette, I was like, let me call some of my siblings, because I'm the baby, even though I'm 46, I'm the baby. And I was like, it's interesting. I'm going to be on this show later. And we were talking about how we feel about growing up with 5 moms and this dad. And everybody was like, we were happy. I was like, thank you.
Okay.
We were happy. My father was and, a fantastic husband and a fantastic father. I called it kind of like a business, and he was very neutral in all aspects. So every mother kind of got the same thing. Every mother had a house. If he could not provide for them, he was not taking them on. And then some people are like, well, how did the mothers, come to your dad? The first mother, of course, he wooed and they got married. The second one, by accident, he had helped a family friend with, financial stuff, whatever. And they said they were sending a gift to him. He thought it was like a cow or something. It ended up being their daughter.
Oh wow. Wow.
you know. And he was like, no, 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 no. He sent her back, and they were like, no. And it's a disgrace to the family if you, of course, don't accept something. And so they sent her back. And he said it many times over, but they kept sending her back. So that came number two. And so it kind of, there was two similar like that. My mother, the fifth wife, was the same, where her uncle brought her to the village to help out, but really it was more of just, this is where you're going to be. And she became the fifth wife.
Oh, wow.
But it's a different culture. I mean, we're an agricultural based society. It's accepted there. If you go to the government of Malawi and look up my father's name, you will see the wives' names listed there. It's legal. Here, I think it's bigamy. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of the you were saying 60,000 families that say they're polygamous here, I consider them, like you said, polyamorous.
Okay.
Because they've mutually decided to live together, or they've mutually decided to have some type of relationship. But polygamy usually says a husband and a wife. And that has not yet, we don't know, because a lot of things change, been established in the United States of America legally yet.
Yeah. So I know in Utah there are a lot of polygamous families, but they kind of decriminalized it.
Yes.
It's still against the law, but I guess they probably have an arrangement with some of the politicians, because there's so many of those families.
We also know why.
Right.
Some of those, yeah. Well, of course. I mean, yeah, exactly.
He's patting his skin. Is he talking about
One
race?
of the reasons why they decriminalized it, because their population is going down, and they found out how successful polygamous families become. So as long as it didn't go into our direction, where we pretty much come from, then it was fine for them to decriminalize. We just gonna give you a little slap on the hand because we want y'all to keep progressing, and we want these Negroes to stay independent and without resources. So that's pretty much how they set it up there. And it was a time where the government didn't involve themselves. That piece of paper in the United States came from them saying that when we came out of slavery, they didn't want us to marry into their people.
Correct.
So they set up, then they took over the marriage contracts. Before then, we was married. You took that woman, you was married. I still don't believe that marriage is decided by the state or government. They can't give you, that was just a business to fix it so that you're actually, they're making so much money from divorce right now. They're making so much money from that whole institution, but that don't institute marriage. From nature, pure nature states that when you take on a woman and you take responsibility for that woman is your bride. You have responsibility for it. People lie, but nature don't. If you look at nature, when a lion take on a woman, from that point on, that lion has responsibility. Period. He's charged. What we're seeing now is somebody because we're in the hookup culture. So we're seeing somebody sleep with somebody and then let them go. Because in this culture, it's like, oh, I just slept with you.
And it's nothing.
It's not nothing.
Yeah.
But in the truth of the matter, in nature, once you slept with that woman, you took her on. She fell under your protection. And if this was actually ancient times, she couldn't protect herself. So the reason why you just couldn't sleep with her and let her go, and the reason why it would be considered fornication, because now she has to go for another man protection, meaning that she has to sleep with him too. Another soul tie. So by nature, what we call a baby's mama now, what we call the hookup side piece, is actually wife number one, wife number two, wife number three, regardless of how we want to take it. The only reason why you can't put polygamy to it is because of the fact that polygamy means responsibility. So when they're no longer, if they're not going to be responsible for the people, then they're not They're not practicing. They're just fornicating.
Well,
in the
remember
true
we were
sense.
talking about that, Queen A? We were
And
talking
so,
about how Nick
Lucy, in
Cannon.
your family,
Yeah.
was there a discussion on, what the women were looking to gain from a polygamous relationship that you know of?
No, because there's a difference back home and here, and
Okay.
part of it is income.
Mm-hmm.
This culture, we have more material items. Divorce is a little bigger here. It's not as big home. I told you, like when my mother left, she left. Her body left, and then she came back later on. There was not a division of assets and things like that, and that's probably why polygamy probably has not fully been accepted, because it goes into things like there are more items to be divided here in the United States.
Okay.
While back home it's a simple, we're together, we are not together, and that's it. The children stay with the man because everything follows through the paternal side.
Right. Okay.
And so I stayed with my father. If they decide to go, they can go. If they want to come back, they can come back. Yeah.
Now that's funny. Now check this out. Statistics show that if a child is without his father, he's more likely to go to jail. He's more likely to live a poor life. The whole 9 yards. When the family is separated, and they show, so they say when he's just with the mother, he's more likely to have all of these ills. But they showed something else. If he's just with the father, he don't get none of that. He's still not likely to go to jail. He's still not likely. So it must be some reason what actually having that stability there. That of the male figure that must stop this stuff. This is a test that the United States actually did. And they see if it's a father and a mother in the house, the child is in a better position. But if it's just the father in the house, the child is in the same position, according to statistics. Of course, we know it would be a little bit better to have both of them in the house, but they don't. It seems that when the father is just in the house, they still don't run into these more often to be in jail, more often to live a poor life, and all of that. So it's funny that over in her homeland, that it would go to the father.
Well, and so is that because prior to going into the marriage, the women are not financially stable?
The women are not financially stable. Well, first, I'll go back and agree with his statement. Psychologically speaking, the male role is very important. I mean, give it up to all the single moms and everything. But the male role is highly important to a child and then to a family. We are more of the nurturers. They are more of the people that come in. Say it again.
The disciplinarian.
The disciplinarians.
Yeah.
The person that is the wall, the stop. And there's not much give on that because they know. But us mothers, we breastfeed them, we take care of them, we feed them, and we can let them go and they come back, they push off, they do their own. But they know that male, just like he said, even with the line, they know that is where you do not break the line. And with my father, it was the same. I mean, it was, we all respected him. There was no question about it. You ask any of my sisters, any of my brothers, he held the line.
Okay. And so how many of your siblings are living in polygamy?
Only 3.
Real out of 33? Wow.
Only 3. Yeah.
Oh. And why is that?
Well, first, my father did not approve of them, just so you know.
Okay.
And he did not approve of them because of the financial portion of it. You must be willing to take care. Oh, I'm sorry. I should say only 3 women. 2 of my brothers, Dunduzu and Edwin, did attempt it, but they were not prepared. One was an alcoholic, the other one just was a womanizer. So he didn't hold down the household.
Okay.
So a lot of them either, I think he had 3 left, or he left and started something else. but he was still married to that other person. So it was not stable.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was
And
definitely financial.
Okay, and for yourself, you didn't choose.
I didn't, but I'm gonna say this because we talked about this.
Right,
right. I did not. I have not chosen to get married because I feel I have yet to figure out if I get my father. Like, I understand. Actually, I get any man or woman that says, oh, this one person may not be the one I want to be with forever. I get that. Because I've had times where I'm like, oh, I'm so fascinated and, love spending time with this person, but then this other person. So for me, because my personality cannot settle in one place, I said, well, don't put yourself in a space to not do the right thing, So I haven't chosen one way or the other. Okay. I kind of just move.
Yeah. So here in the United States, 80% of women only mess with 20% of men. So they actually are right now. And I heard the earlier statement of how many families are openly, like, to the point where you can gauge it. But if 80% of women are only messing with 20% of men, and it's really less now, they're messing with less than, that was an old statistic, they're messing with less than 20% of men, right? That means if they're all sharing their men, because they already outnumber us by like 2 million. So and in that 2 million, then you got to count 90% of the prison population are males. Then you got to count the people that went on the rainbow side. So when you look at all of this stuff, you're looking at a situation of women is at that point where they only had a certain amount of men, and now, even though they only have a certain amount of men, they all want the same man. They don't want, because biologically, they're always searching for somebody to push forth their legacy. So that makes them choose to the top of the food line. So that makes them go to the alpha male. The alpha male, by nature, knows his biology is polygamous. Regardless of what he practiced, scientifically, he's polygamous. If he's not practicing it, it's for a reason. But by nature, science proved that that's what he is, right? So, and if anybody don't understand that science, it's like he gets 120 million sperm cells a day, right? Which is screaming, procreate.
And that's just his release.
That's just his release.
That's right.
And the woman gets 1 egg per month. Why? Because of the fact that she was made just to carry this one man's lineage. So much so that if something was to happen to that man, she would take on the seed of his brother or something like that. That's the only way she could keep this seed going, because it was everybody was very lineage was very, very important, and it is right now in the animal kingdom. So a woman will ask sometimes, well, if he can have more than one wife, right? Why couldn't I have more than one husband? Well, first of all, that sounds good, right? But one thing about having more than one wife, everybody knows who the baby is, right? Everybody knows who child that is. And when you're dealing with an alpha situation, by nature, we kill what is not ours. So if you're dealing with back in the day when men had to protect women, which it can fall like that with just a war or just any type of nuclear exposure, everything goes back to the way it was. And if one disaster happened, feminist movement as a whole would drop that very second, because it only exists when life is soft. When life becomes hard, it ain't gonna be no women talking about they don't want polygamy. They're gonna be like, please, can I come into your family? And the men gonna be saying no, because they're responsible for protecting these women. They're responsible for providing for these women. And I'm gonna say this last thing. In the state that I can speak for Black America, in the state we're in now, some people say, well, I can't afford to be a polygamist, right? I would say that you can't afford not to be, because in the state that we're actually in now, the reason why they did not want us to practice, because did we have to stop?
No.
The reason why they didn't want us to practice is because, let's say the man just have a little money and he had these women. They decided, they came into an understanding that he was taking on wives. And this woman had a job, and this woman had a job, and this woman had a job. And they all worked together, formed a business, put him as the CEO. Somebody went to the house to make sure that they could eat correctly so they wouldn't get poisoned with high blood pressure and all this crazy stuff we dealing with now. Somebody else went to actually help the business, the first wife, to make sure the security and everything is straight like that. These people can become millionaires very, very quickly because they have the resources to become millionaires. That's one of the reasons in Utah that they don't mess with that, because they done seen the progression of what happens when you do it correctly. Now, of course, if you put a knucklehead in polygamy, it's the same thing as putting a knucklehead in monogamy. You got a knucklehead there, and he can't balance one household. So he can't balance that. How he can't even balance a friendship between him and his boys. So that person is not the person. But by nature, a man is naturally polygamous, whether he do it or not. And by nature, a woman is naturally monogamous. She was made to be with one, whether she do it or not. But check this out. When she go and try to not do it, she winds up, the next man that gets her winds up getting a crazy woman. Because when you arguing with that woman, you're not actually arguing with her. You arguing with Rick and John and all these different levels of testosterone. It's because she's naturally monogamous. She gets impressed upon what some people would call a soul tie.
Okay. I'm going to read this comment from Chanel, the lady. Those kids without the mom are less affectionate and does not have successful marriages due to lack of nurturing, and that's something the study didn't show. And
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
Really, I'm on the fence with that, but let me hear your.
Well, being the father of two daughters who don't have a mom, one of them by choice and one of them because she was called home. My daughters are extremely affectionate because they come from a very affectionate background. You understand what I'm saying? Just because the moms are not in the house doesn't mean that I have a mom.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Who's very involved. I have my grandmother, my father's mom. She's 91, super involved. My kids go stay the weekends with her, and she talks to them, and they love on them. So that doesn't necessarily mean just because there's not a woman in the household that there's not a woman in the village.
That's because
can I add to that?
He said village. So the mentality of village, right, makes a man automatically put things in place. He's automatic. Look at Ramsey. His wife, he lost his wife. So what he did, he started putting things in place. He started putting a village in place,
brother.
To actually make sure he started putting women around his children. Yeah. So a man, because he's an organizer, he started putting certain women in place.
That's that kingdom building.
Start putting women in place.
I'm gonna let you finish your statement. We're gonna talk to Chanel because I kind of feel a vibe here. So hi Chanel, how you doing? Welcome to Intimacy.Connectionz.
Hey Chanel.
What you want to say? Yeah, we can hear you.
So as a licensed therapist, a trauma therapist, and a psychiatrist, what I was stating was, I'm not stating that all children have that, but when he said he's raising his two daughters, that's a different scenario, because when you're raising women naturally gravitate to their father, their male figure, and they learn how to love from him, because the love from your father is different than what you get from your mother. But when we're talking about young men, the way that they treat their women is the way that their mom treated them. And a lot of our young men out here are damaged because they didn't have the love and the support of their mother. That's what I was stating. I wasn't saying that kids are messed up because they didn't have that nurturing. And then on top of that, when you have women role models, when you have a female role model that is a good role model that shows you nurturing, that's the difference. But with the studies in which he was speaking about, they did not put that in there. What they said was the male was the most important part that allowed the children to see a difference in like leadership and things like that. And yes, the male is a good leader, but without both parents, there is something that the children will always lack. Because if I'm not a man, I could never teach my son how to be a man because I don't know what it's like to be the man. However, as a woman, I can definitely show my son what it is to love a woman and to treat her correctly. But I can't do the male side of it, so it's always best for a two-parent home. But when there's a single mom, she does need a male role model. Just like when there's a single dad, she will definitely need a female role model or somebody that will be there to give her that other part that she'll be missing.
Well, one thing that happens, and I don't disagree that they both need both, but in our community, right? Ever since the feminist movement, and ever since the welfare system and everything, our woman took on a different role and a different mindset. And that role was not beneficial to the child. You can actually just look at how they're functioning. That role was destructive to the child mind, because in the proper household, the woman would raise the child to actually respect the father. This child that has been raised now has been raised to disrespect the father. Matter of fact, the mother disrespected the father right in front of the child. So it's to the point her presence at this time, the reason why one part of the test showed that the male, if they was just with the male, because when a male's with a child, like say, for example, my situation, I raised my daughter, I'm a single father, but I didn't put in bad things in my child about their mother. And I raised her mind a certain way, and I was passionate with us a certain way. You know, my sons, yeah, I was with them a certain way, but I had a certain passion with them, a certain balance with them of the way I actually dealt things. I wasn't trying to break them. I was trying to build them. So I had the ability to raise my son that way and raise my daughter that way. Now, if I had a balanced woman with me, of course, you know, things would be better no matter what the tests say. That was the way it was prescribed. But I'm just saying, under the circumstance that we actually are under right now, and what has been done to our woman, and the pill she swallowed called the feminist movement, and actually reversing the roles. Not that was her fault, but she swallowed the pill. The children is in a circumstance.
But you said, to piggyback off that, first of all, we have a lot of broken people trying to raise new individuals. We have these people that had traumatized childhoods that are raising these children, and they're raising them from trauma. And that's the problem. It has nothing to do with the feminine movement, because the disrespect in the household started back in slavery when the men were being raped in front of their family to lose the respect for the man. That's where that started. It had nothing to do with the feminist movement. And from there, it was a continuation. Because if I can be raped in front of my husband and he can't protect me, and my husband can be raped in front of me and my children, then how do we respect one another? That's where it started. And then it just progressed sexually. And it's also a choice. We can choose to respect each other, but because we allow the old way of thinking to interject in the way that we live our lives, that's why we're still stuck as a community.
Now,
let me give Lucy. Lucy, what's your views on this? I'm gonna
Chanel
let you go, but
completely
I just want to, be mindful that we have Lucy on the show as well.
No.
Thank you so much, Chanel.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You too. We appreciate you.
No, I was just agreeing with everything she said. My background is psychology, so she is absolutely correct. I mean, being African and looking also at the African American community or Black community, there are some parallels and there are things that are different. When I look at a lot of people right now, I figure, like, even the women right now, she was saying having a male role model is very important, and also having a female role model is important, and picking the right person. A lot of my girlfriends are in these polyamorous relationships, whether they know it or not, polygamous, if you want to call it that. And the reason why they're choosing that, like he said, is the statistics. You know, there are not enough men or good men, the top notch, the ones that are going to take care of things. So they choose the individuals, whether it's female or male, to help them raise these children that they have, to give them the great male. Somebody might keep you around because you'd be a good role model for my daughter or for my son. or I'll keep Lynette around because she's going to be a good role model for my daughter, for my son. And it's okay if she's not there all the time.
Okay.
Which is why when we were talking, I said, I could see any of us really in a polygamous.
Yeah, I know you said that definitely about me, and
Yes. I'm like, well, think about it,
And I guess I can see it, especially because of the stage of my life that I'm in right now.
Yes.
I don't necessarily consider myself an everyday person. And so I do want to talk about the idea that the wives had their own houses. But before I get to that, let me read this comment.
We got our boy Mike.
I got Mike. Mike had a couple of comments that I want to read. He said Chanel was amazing and the truth. It sounds like y'all got somebody on the show this time who actually has an education and intelligent at the same time. I thank you, Mike, for your comment. But I do want to talk about the sister wives.
Can I say something before y'all switch the subject?
Sure.
Okay.
Because she said something, I just want to make this clear.
Okay.
Slavery, yes, it started in slavery, but we would still get married after slavery. The feminist movement did that. So when we took the banner of the feminist movement and the welfare system, that whole I'm independent, I don't need a man, that did that. That came and decimated our families. You can research it. We would still get married after slavery. We got married after slavery more than we get married now. We were staying married.
I want to talk about. I want to come back to that. So we're gonna pin that.
Okay, we're gonna pin that one. Okay,
we're gonna right. We're gonna get into that. But I do want you to talk about the sister wives. Was there a sisterhood among the wives, and why did they choose separate housing?
They didn't choose separate housing. My father was smart enough. He was smart.
Okay.
So take off these headphones. My father was smart to make sure that every single woman had their own things to take care of their own family, but also the community. So our village with 6 houses. It was a big house, and then there were smaller houses for all other mothers that came out here. We had a lovely mango tree in the center of our village, and the men would eat, the women and children would eat. It was very traditional.
Okay.
Still to this day. So it was important that you did that because I think there's less friction among people when there's equality. And that is for a household, that is for communities. When you know that you are being respected the same way, getting assisted things, like when someone's shopping, they all pick their dresses, what they wanted to get.
Okay.
Therefore, no one feels that they are less than. And that's what you really have to create in that type of household. When you start feeling like you are competing against somebody, or that you're not as important as that person. And they also set up things like my mother was not, she was into cooking. Another mother, 2 mothers actually took on most of the cooking. And others might be more nurturing. Others might be, the water was not in your house. You have to go get it. So there's a lot of work on our daily lives.
Hey, excuse me, this is Nick, the producer in the back. On your audio settings, go down to your audio settings on the program where we're using it. You see a thing say echo cancellation. It say audio.
It says edit audio out.
Yeah. Click on that box that say echo cancellation. Cause you echo in the live.
I don't have it. I have remove from something, edit names and headline, edit auto, that. Spotlight.
Yep.
That one?
Try it. Yeah. Nah. Come back.
She went
Connect
out.
that mic. Yeah, she got to connect her mic again.
Okay, so I do want to touch on. You brought up a great point, Coyote, and I've said this many times. I feel like when women started fighting for equal rights, the women in our community didn't understand what the fight was about. They didn't understand that their fight would not have been the same as their Caucasian counterpart. The whole idea, the basis of the movement was never really about equal rights, as it was more so them being able to tax instead of 50% of the population, now 100%, because now you're sending that woman out into the work world. She's leaving that cozy home to go out and work, but she's being taxed. That's what the movement was about. But the black women didn't understand that. We heard equal rights, and some were tired of the treatment they were getting at home, so they wanted their independence. In the process of gaining independence, some, not all, may have alienated their men because now they were making, if not as much, close to what the man was making. So they didn't have enough education to educate that man and make that man feel secure. There was the beginning of the demise of the black family.
Yeah, and that demise right there was done to destroy the woman. Actually, the women that actually set that up didn't believe in it themselves. When you look them up, that was paid off by the Cosmopolitan magazine. It was some fake setup. They had husbands at home that they was happy with, but they set that up, and we fell for it, took it hook, line, and sinker. And the root of it, what it did was cause destruction of the family and made the man could not love his woman no more, and the woman not respect the man no more, because a man don't love nothing that don't submit to him by nature.
Well, and I'm gonna also say, if we're just gonna get down and dirty with it, right? Some women felt like they didn't have a choice but to go out and work because some of the
going fine. They was like, oh yeah, girl, talk to your man like that. But they home talking to that man a different way. Because they said, you're not destroying our family. It was a woman that was on Kevin Samuel's show. She wasn't on Kevin's show, but he was showing it. And she was a well-known podcast person. And she came out saying something crazy about white men. And then one day, she had retracted it. Why? Because those white men said, we're not black. You can't. We're not going to be destroyed like them. So in other words, because of the way we was being raised, because of the way the black man was, we was the least likely to abuse our woman. Most of the time when you check the abuse, if he hitting her, most of the time she hitting him, right? And there's no place for him to actually go. She wasn't, when we left out of slavery, they had already broken down our families. So she wasn't under all of this dictatorship. Right. You know what I'm saying? It was like the white woman was under her man's dictatorship, and she protected what was going on with her man onto our woman. Our woman swallowed the pill, lost her man, and the white woman slide back and say, hey, I want to keep my man, and she kept him.
So that's the thing. Like when you think of The Color Purple and a lot of those movies that show this abuse on behalf of the black man and the black woman, they're usually either directed by, produced by, or funded by white people. So it's easy for us to, we're going to always look like the villain. You understand what I'm saying? But I wanted to ask you a question. How in your household, with your father having 5 wives and 33 kids, how did he deal with toxicity with the women? Were there problems amongst the wives, and how did he deal with those things if there were issues, even if it was coming to him?
Yeah, so I told you, like, my mom left. So when that issue arose, she was able to walk out. I think I got my demeanor and personality from him because he was very calm. He was a very cool dude, you know, like I don't like toxic stuff. I don't even like fighting. I don't think I've ever even been in a fight. I feel most things can be talked out or hug it out. And my dad was kind of the same. So when the women had issues with each other, they dealt with it with each other. Okay. They didn't go to him because they knew not to.
Well, how did he? So they never went to him with any of their drama.
No.
Even as a person, like if they had a problem with him, how did he deal with that?
That you don't have a problem with my dad.
My man.
No.
See, that was set up right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely.
No, and I can tell you, I turned off the echo and it's back again. I can tell you that he did it properly because like I said, I called my siblings when I knew I was going to come on, and I said, can any of you tell me, did you have an issue with something? And all of them were like, no, we were good, because he did it right. If you talk to probably the wives of my 2 brothers, they didn't do it right.
Okay.
Firstly, starting with the financial portion I told you. Secondly, setting up a positive environment within his home. My brother right before me, a positive environment with his home where everybody felt they were being a part of something. So even like when I go back home, we all know what to do. There's no big deal about, oh, all of us moms and children are going to go eat over here. The men are going to talk about something we probably don't want to talk about, and it's okay. We can accept that and say, it's okay.
Okay.
You know, and we can talk about our own thing and then come back together and do what we need to do. It's working for a common goal.
Did the women have your demeanor? Like, was the women soft talk, or was some of them aggressive?
No. Oh, you know, so it's interesting when I look at the 5 wives, I'm like, now how did this one come to be? And how did this one come? I only know of 3 of how they came to be. We have the tough, but I wouldn't say tough in the sense that they were like, this is going to go my way, but the no nonsense women. that we got to get things done. And they probably, like the first mom was, not to use the term overseer because it's so negative and it refers to slavery, but the person that made sure things were in line. And you respect that person. She came first. She's the eldest one. Most of the time, um, because the one after came in either because the man wanted to have more children, or she no longer wanted to do it every single day. you know Go back to that queen. So the role came in, and that older woman respected that younger woman for her role, and the young woman respected the older one. And I don't want, if you watch some of these Netflix, like Nollywood and stuff like that, and they have a lot of drama. Yes, there is some of that. There is, of course, the dramas in certain families if it's not set up right. You have to have all the people on the same common mind, common goal. And if you don't have that anywhere, forget it. Things are going to fail. Okay, we're back.
Okay, yeah. So, the ages of the 33 children, you said it's 46 to 82?
No, so I'm 46.
Okay.
The first mother had, so my sister Othello, who passed away a few years ago, was 86.
Okay.
And then my second mother, and what I mean by that is that I was adopted by one of my older sisters,
Oh, wow.
um, because my father was 72. Most everybody was grown by the time I popped out. And when my mom left, another mom came in and was raising me. And then my father asked one of my sisters, who was in Canada at the time, to bring me over. And so then I got a second mom, so my second mother. Um, and we have, let's see, so 86, she's the firstborn. And most of them are somewhere in that 60 to 70 range, you know. And then I have nieces and nephews that are all older than me.
Appreciate that.
Oh, it's back.
Okay, okay. Did you ever witness any of the wives getting sick? And if you did, what transpired?
So if one person was sick, or the way that it usually works is that the helping hand also is the next person, because our houses were all close together.
Okay.
Everyone had their own kitchen and things like that. So let's say, like I said, let's say my mom was not there or whatever, the next person would take in and help that family. So those children,
Okay.
my next mother had 8 girls. Those children then would be helped by the other mothers. Darn it, lost again.
Hello. Who would help the person that was sick, the wife that was sick?
Oh, the other wives. You're talking about sick like as in
say one of the wives got sick. Who would take care of that wife?
Oh yeah, the other wives.
So, go ahead.
No, the other wives would take care of that wife, and they would all collectively also then take care of the children as well. So, like I said, it's agriculture. So even as far as like food, we all have to go out to get that food. It's farm. So that person is sick. You all lend a helping hand to that family, that house.
And the reason why I mentioned it, is because in our society, right? We live in a society of sending our parents to nursing homes. We live in a society of sending our children to babysitters that don't even believe in the same thing that we believe in or eat the same thing that we eat. So it's a total destructive type of mentality, you know.
Everyone stays in that village till you die.
What was that?
Everyone stays together until you die.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And see, that's what I was talking about. I witnessed myself, right? Because I've been doing a study on polygamy. And I witnessed myself, a co-host that I actually have that I'm friends with now, a touch of his life where him and his wife was both sick by the same type of food that they eat. And they both land on the ground at the same time, not being able to help nobody. And that's lack of resources, right? And some people would say, well, I got a son or I got a daughter, but they have a family, right? And it's like, but if this was the family like we used to have, like the village, somebody else would have been there to pick them off the ground. And matter of fact, they might not have even have made it to that floor because of the way that they've been fed, because it was somebody that actually look out the food. Both people ain't out working. Somebody is actually making sure that you're eating the proper nutrition. We're not stopping at Burger King. We're not stopping at these merchants of death. We got somebody. We got somebody there that's actually making sure that you're taking in the proper nutrition so the family will be actually safe.
I agree. So the first year I landed here, I was like a beanpole. Probably a year or two in, I did not look the same. The food here, it's shameful because it's not right. It's not right with the government let's go, where you can go into some of these European countries and they won't even allow the stuff that we allow here. You know, we have a more natural diet, definitely, and we take care of our family until the end. I'm the senior citizens. Like I went to go visit this woman, and they're getting home health aid care and all this, and she had to like pay her daughter to clean her house, and I'm like, huh? that's foreign to me.
Yeah. Because
I'm like, what do you mean you're paying your daughter to come help clean the house because she's 73 and she's had 4 strokes? I'm like, your daughter should be figuring out how to make sure you're comfortable, or bringing her into her home. That does not make sense to me. You know, the other thing I never got was when people visit. I remember one time in our house there were like 23 people because we had some kind of party or something. And people are like, 23 people? Yes, we fit them somewhere. Everything here is like, well, this person will go get the hotel over here, and this person will go get the motel over here. And I'm like, no, you're family. You squeeze them somewhere.
Yes, exactly. That's how I grew up.
See, that mindset is not a village mindset. So when I tell people, I say about polygamy, I say, if you're not going to practice polygamy, you need to put yourself next to a polygamous family. Because you need to be able to benefit from the resources of such. This is all about resources. If you don't have enough resources, you will die, and you will die alone. Because it's just not enough resources. It's not enough people to help you. It's not enough people to attend to certain posts. What if somebody gets sick? What if somebody dies? It's other very, very serious, complicated things that actually can take place in life. And we haven't even gotten to the sexual situation.
But people don't like sharing. People don't like sharing here.
But they do it.
They do it for some things. I know because I'm a super giving person. They don't like sharing here. There are times when people have looked at me like, like I was up to something. So I'm like, what do you mean? You're supposed to help each other. You're supposed to give. You're supposed to, do something. I mean, Lynette knows me. I'm like, you are supposed to help the next person, But I think, I don't know. I'm not sure if this society favors, I guess, a less social, where we're trying to collectively raise ourselves up. I'm not sure.
We lost the village. I know coming
We
up,
lost
I
the village.
had the village.
Yeah.
So I know what that's like to go from, family to family. Like for my parents, my mom, it was never an issue with her opening the door and bringing another family to live with us.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. I feel like in today's world, or the world that we created, we've gotten so far away from the village, because it's kind of, I got to get mine, you get yours the best way that you can. Um, and even when my parents took ill, it's four of us. So we were able to, care for them. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't where, like, for like with my dad, he never had to pay us to do
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Right.
They took care of us. So we in
It's
turn
that.
took care of them. We
Mm-hmm.
understood the village. So, and I feel grateful because I grew up in that. For us, I feel like when I think of community and relationships, you know, everybody has a right to choose. I don't always think it's going to come down to um I have to choose polygamy because this is the only thing that's going to work. If we create the village, it's going to be a mixture of monogamous families and polygamous families, but they're all coming together to work as the village that we once had. That's the thing that I'm more interested in. Just us coming together as a village.
The village
That's
mind.
what we're missing.
The village mind. The village
Well, they'll
mind.
say you're a socialist.
Huh?
I said they'll call you a socialist.
Well, I think I've been called that many times
Do you remember
among
when
other
Obama got
things.
attacked for being a socialist? Okay. Do you remember when Obama was
I
trying to
remember,
help
yeah.
out the community?
Mm-hmm.
I think we live in a
Yes.
time. I think we live in a time of independence because of necessity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so I think that's a big part of what took away the family dynamic, the village dynamic, and we always talk get it, get it, get it, get it,
That's
get
true.
it,
That's
and
true.
everybody's out here trying to figure out how to get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. And a
You
lot
can
of times,
still be
though, I think a lot of times, not to cut you off, people are out here trying to get it so they can bring it back to the village. It's just they get so caught up in getting it, or what's the next step to getting more, that they forget, or they don't even have the time to get back to the village. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of it.
That's
too.
the setup of the
American dream.
The setup of the American dream, or the monogamy mindset. And when I say the monogamy mindset, I'm not really talking about whether you want to be with more than one person or not. I'm really talking about the village mindset. That is the opposite of the village mindset. See, black men was held under a microscope, right? So being that they was held under the microscope, they said, black men are no good. They that. Why would you submit to him? Why, blah, 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 blah. Everything in the world has been said about black men from the last 60 to 70 years, right? And we have absorbed it. Then come along a Kevin Samuels to put the microscope on black women, because black women had never had the microscope on them, and they wasn't used to actually having that type of pressure with somebody actually examining them. They lost their minds, right? When somebody starts saying, hey, maybe it's you, maybe you're doing something. They couldn't take that because they never actually had the microscope on them. But I say that for this reason. I used to believe that women just didn't like sharing their men. I used to believe that, right? And so women are more complicated than that, right?
Very.
That is just the cover up. Women already know they sharing their man. The situation, what it really is that when polygamy comes in place the way we used to say as a village. Yeah, I might know that you dealing with somebody outer. I know who I'm married to. I know who I'm dealing with. You just ain't showing it in my face. I'm cool with it. The reason why that is because when another woman is in your household, you got a microscope on you now. So now I'm not going to talk to my husband like this because she don't talk to him like this. I'm not going. I'm going to keep myself steel sharp and steel. So now I got to keep myself up to point. I have to be competitive. Men know they have to be competitive. So when a microscope was on a woman, she don't want to be competitive. She want to be like, take me as I am, accept me how I am. I want a nice guy, but I really don't want a nice guy, because if I get a nice guy, I'm a bored to death. So it's like she don't really want what she actually saying out her mouth. That's why she always wind up going after the outfit that she's not even qualified for. So now we're dealing with a situation is we can't take the mirror, we can't take the microscope, we can't take men. The reason why I say women, because men, if they be delusional, the world is going to show them very quick. Oh, you think you got a lot of money? Let me show that you don't. Oh, you think you're attractive? Oh, let me show you that you're not. Oh, you think you're built? Oh, let me show you that you're not. So the world is going to quickly destroy the male's delusion. But our women can be actually delusional in the world and push it up. Body positivity. Oh, girl, yeah, boom.
Sugar, not again.
Actually or not, and nobody is getting the truth. So everything is getting messed up. But I really believe the only reason the sharing is not as big an issue as being competitive. They don't want to compete for like a man has to compete. He knows there's always somebody to replace him. That lion knows there's always another lion, but in order for that lion to replace him, they gotta take down that lion. And that's what I think it is. I think it is about being competitive.
Let me read this comment and then I'm going to let Sizzling Shaw add her.
What?
Because she's been quiet over here.
I'm just taking it all in.
I'm throwing her out there. But Carmela Boyce, she says,
Hey,
I
Carmela.
share, and yes, people think you're trying to outdo them just because of a warm heart. I appreciate your comment, Carmela. Sizzling Shaw, what do you think of?
Well, I want to touch on first, far as the competitiveness, as Howdy was saying. And I don't think as far as the maybe the other person maybe getting more attention, it might be more time, more affection, and more attention. I think it's more on that angle than just far as you don't want to compete. You know what I'm saying? If you know your spouse or whoever might be out there seeing somebody, that other person might be getting more time or more whatever that than you're getting. That's when I think the jealousy and all that stuff might come to play.
Yeah,
and that's in a scenario of them not being a polygamous in a relationship. They just in a raggedy. They just in a raggedy relationship because a polygamous relationship, everybody know. All right. And he's gonna have to learn how to balance. If not, it would be like that. Got men that can't balance.
I think it all ends up in
and that's
quality.
my whole point, right? We always have these discussions about polygamy, monogamy, but my whole thing with that, learn to be successful in your monogamous relationship before you even consider polygamy relationship, because there's a lot of people that are losing at monogamy. So now you want to open the door up to consider polygamy, and you can't even make one woman happy. That's my whole thing. So I got a question for you, Lucy. In this country, in your personal opinion, do you feel like polygamy is the only answer for the survival of the Black community?
No. I mean, I do not think it's the only answer for the survival of the.
What's going on, Nick?
I'm sorry? No, I do not think that it's the only.
We can't hear her.
I can hear you.
Okay, you gotta turn up some more, Nick.
No, I do not think it's the only way that we can survive. I've always thought that the way that we survive, I mean, if I can snap my fingers every time I come across somebody that I want to kind of turn the way that they think, Like even today, I was walking across the street and I saw a young man skating down, and I was like, "Hey, good morning, whatever." And he turned around and said to me, "Don't change." I mean, I say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
So I think it's not just the polygamy portion. I think it's the mindset of how we treat each other. That is my hold on that. It's how we treat each other.
Lucy.
Yes.
But and I agree with that. But the only thing with that, right, is that he said don't change it. Then he went back to wherever he went. Now, I believe that the village, not necessarily polygamy, but polygamy is in the village. It will be the strongest part of the village. I believe the village is the only way we can survive. I looked at it and I saw that, man, why black people won't unify? Why they won't unify? And I realized they won't unify because there's nothing in it for them. So when you have let's say you have a house, and this is everybody's house. You have some houses on the compound, but it still belongs to the institution of that house. Everybody is going to work for that house. So somebody said, well, what's the difference of me just being a friend of theirs? The difference of you being a friend of theirs is that people will take care of their friends. They'll give a little charity to their friends, but they're going to make sure that their house is taken care of.
So you're talking about the difference between renting and owning.
Yes, and a different, So the unity comes because it's mine. You know, and now I can benefit. Now, wait a minute, I have 6 children from this wife. I got 6 children from this wife. Now, but my next door neighbors got the same thing, and we got to build this big farm. Now, me making a treaty with my next door neighbors make more sense because they got resources and I have resources, and we put those resources together. We're functioning in a powerful way. That's the reason why I say it's the only answer, because what is the alternative? The alternative is what we're doing right now. Nursing homes, babysitters, and check this out. We dying like I don't know what. We putting crazy stuff in our food because nobody home cooking. We are living the reality of monogamy. So we don't have to wonder, what do monogamy look like? It looks like this. So you take this and see what it look like, and then look at a civilization that don't look. We don't got to go that far. We can go to Utah. What happened during the pandemic during Utah while we all struggling, running around not knowing what to do? They eating good. They was functioning fine. So much so they wanted to go down there and close some of those farms down because they were so independent and so powerful. Why is that? They had the village. So a clear example is made to what independence does. And just like this gentleman said, it's not like they don't want to bring the bag back home, but you get caught up making the bag.
Yeah.
And then something else happened. And that's not a village mindset. You're not setting up a kingdom mindset. If you call yourself Christian, if you call yourself Muslim, one thing that you're going to find about the Bible and the Quran is all of those people was kingdom building. Abraham, all of them was kingdom building. Did they have more than one wife? Yes, they did. They all was kingdom building. When you look through the begats, and so begot so-and-so, and so-and-so, but they was working. They married certain people. Go ahead.
I thought it was only King Solomon. Who else had more than one?
Oh, David had more than one wife. Man, we can look it up right now. I know over 22.
I believe you.
Yeah. It's like it was very few.
Oh yeah, baby.
It was very few.
Yeah, baby. That's good. Oh yeah, baby. That's good. Yeah. Oh now. Oh, baby. God damn, bitch. God damn, the pussy good. God, holy shit. God, oh, come over. Got here now. Put your pussy on the ladder over here now. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, baby. Baby.
I want Lynette to get in. She has something to say in terms of kingdom building. You know, she's been quiet, so I'm trying to give her shine. So let's go, Lynette. Let's go, Sis Lynn.
I was being educated. Okay, well, Cody had brought up about kingdom building, about so what if what if you get thrown? Okay, so how would you start off like building your kingdom? Just that's random, like you in particular.
Okay.
Oh, in particular, how would you go and start your if you want to start today, what would you do as far as finding your wife?
Okay,
for your age.
For me,
for your age
Well,
and your circumstance right now.
Okay.
So what I would do is one, I would have a senior wife, right? That has knowledge. And then I'm going to bring in a 23 to 25-year-old.
Okay, with the senior. So what's the role of the senior wife? That's like for the finances and mother of the house or something.
When I say that the number one wife, she can do the same thing I can do in the business. So if I was to die, the family don't die because she can just run. She can control the security. What people would call the military.
Okay.
She can control the operations of day to day. She can control the
She's the Department of Defense.
That is proper food going on. She can replace me.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's what is necessary to happen. That senior wife could be young too, but 9 times out of 10, she would have some type of maturity to her to actually handle that. Then I would get a sunshine wife.
Okay.
Right?
What is that?
A 23 to 25, she happy wherever I take her. Okay. You know what I'm saying? If I take her to Atlantic City, she excited because she ain't never been. Right? If I take wherever I take her, she excited. Why do a man need that? Because he moves, he fires off of excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wanted to. I mean, I'm gonna let you. Wait
a minute. Okay, so you wait a minute. You're not finished. Oh, so
no,
you had.
Go ahead.
Okay, so is there a conversation to be had? So you just don't just grab these women and just all of a sudden say, okay.
Oh no.
So it is a conversation. I just want to be clear.
Lucy is loving this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be it's already a conversation.
Okay,
So
it's gonna be a conversation.
It's definitely a conversation. Hey, we building this kingdom.
You can't handle the truth.
and so this is gonna be like, this is your position. It's right.
This is your position.
Okay.
This is what we doing. This is how we going to benefit. The whole thing. And they're gonna get a contract.
You know it's a contract too.
Yeah, it's a contract. Okay. This is what happens because you got to make sure that they taken care of. Because
it's a business.
I can't. Yeah, I can't.
So that's how things will run with your family.
But we just didn't have contracts because there were no contracts. But it's a business because you're trying to attain something. You know, whether it is that you're trying to take care of your livestock or whether you're here trying to get more businesses. It's you know,
and that's the same.
Even biblically, marriage is a business.
That's right.
It is.
It's always been a business. It's been paganed about love, but it's always been a business.
Mm-hmm. Roman actings. They trick us.
So the question is, you know, when you build these villages, so to speak, are you actually building it properly? Because you can sit here and find people all day long. I can think of 5 women right off the top that I could call right now, and I'll be like, "This is my 5."
Right.
Is it really the 5 that we
exactly?
Need? You know, and then we live in such a and even it doesn't even matter your age right now. We live in such a microwave society
Absolutely,
in America that
yes.
I don't even think I don't think the men nor the women are really built for polygamy right now.
Yeah, their mind would have to be right.
Polygamy,
right.
Niggery. Nobody, people is just not built for any of this stuff.
I would have to agree.
Yes, it all starts right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly believe that we're in the shift in the rotation of people starting to finally wake up and heal.
Yeah.
So that we're in the era of healigamy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and trust. There's not a lot of trust here.
It doesn't seem that way. I agree with you on that. And I would have to say, people. And so building, going back to what you said, Coyote, building that kingdom, it will have to be certain things in place. They have to be mentally stable to be able to be an active participant in a polygamous relationship. They have to have it should be a process,
a neutral person.
Yeah. A neutral process if you know that you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would have to be set up like that, but I'm gonna tell y'all something that's real. Okay. Right? Yeah. We talk about all of this stuff. It would take one war on your soul, on American soul. You wouldn't be talking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? When those jobs shut down and you're gonna have to, this person's husband died, you you be begging. See,
and I feel like you use this as a scare tactic.
No.
You know, that's how I feel that way.
Not
what
me.
You say, Lucy?
We've been through wars.
Not me.
Right.
War.
No, that ain't what I mean.
What you mean? Okay. Well.
See, I said on American soil. You got to understand. I don't use it as a scare tactic because I don't want no wives that don't want to be wives.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
If they scared, they're like, well, I don't have no choice.
No. Nobody want no wives like that.
Let me slide over here.
Let's be very clear, right?
I am delivered.
Let's be very clear.
Okay.
It would take nothing for me to go out the door and get 6 wives if that's what I wanted.
Okay.
Right.
I don't have to search for people that don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
That don't happen to be an issue with 2 million more women than men, right?
So
That's
have you found then the number one neutral Department of Defense person already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the other ones and the other ones don't come in until I got things the way it needs to be.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But the Sunshine Wife born yet?
Wait a minute, you got the sunshine already?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Was she born yet?
The Sunshine Wife.
Was she already born?
Yeah. Okay.
But the thing is, this is what I mean by war. I mean that you have some people that say, I gotta get ready to go to the gym. Like I gotta work out before you got some people that say before I can go to church, you know what I'm saying? I gotta stop smoking. You know what I'm saying? But life can throw you into a situation where all those choices is gone. And then those options that you used to have are not there.
Mm-hmm.
Because men at the time that they would be kind of almost forced to take on more than one wife, they would not want them because they would know what it meant. See, men are not looking for that. Like if you become a top G, as they would call it, you automatically have options and you automatically can get that anyway. But we're talking about regular men, right? That a war comes on American soil or something happened crazy and the women don't have these jobs because AI say, we don't need you anymore, right? And women saw a little bit of it during the pandemic. They start saying, wait a minute, this man, I might need a man after all. The pandemic started that conversation. I might need a man after all in America. So what do you think if AI start replacing some of the things that you actually depend on? The only reason why you even having a conversation like this is because of the fact that you feel that you're in a position that you actually have options.
But why is AI only replacing women? I don't understand. Why is that not also affecting the men? We're not South Korea where like the men are getting drafted every single and having to do some kind of service. Why is it only affecting the women?
What you mean affecting the men in what way?
You're saying AI is affecting these women, and then if there's a war, why is it only affecting the women?
Because women a woman has to be protected. So,
but women here are in the army. We're in the Marines.
Oh my
We're
God!
in the Navy.
Do you see what's going over in Ukraine?
Yes,
you got some women taking pictures by tanks, but they don't put the women at the front line. Women are not. You can get. I put it like this: you could arm the next block over me. You could arm them and give them all guns, right? But just give 3 guns to the people on the side of the block with all men. And before you know it, those men will take them guns. They will slaughter those women. They just was not made.
We got a call.
I'm just trying to explain.
We got a call.
They wasn't made for that. They ain't about that life.
Depends on the person.
So we got a call, Lucy. Ramsey, you're live with Intimate.Connectionz.
Ramsey.
Did you say Mike? You said Mike.
Oh, this is
You
Mike.
said
Mike, that's Mike.
you got 2 calls?
This is Mike.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
All right.
You doing well? How are you?
I'm okay. Listening and definitely entertained and getting educated.
You got a comment for us?
Yeah, I've got a question because Coyote is like probably one of the most interesting people to listen to, and we was just talking about. First off, I wanted to make a comment earlier when you were talking about the village mindset. In my opinion, it's not the culture that it's not definitely not American culture because people here, like Lucy said, they don't like to share. But like even if they're individualists, and even if in most cases, not all, but in most cases, if they do share, it's to get something for the individual. It's something that has to be reciprocated. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know, and so, and this is the thing. In order to live in a village mindset, you have to be looking. It's more of a selfless thing, and I've never experienced it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Like you said, my parents would say the same thing. With that, they grew up different, and there was family and whatnot, but it was still an individualist mindset. I don't know where. Only time I've ever seen that is in other countries where I delivered pizza for Indians who've come here and bought up stores, and their entire family lives in the house. Their grandmother, their parents, and these are people who are in their 40s or 50 years, 50 years old. It's usually not a domestic thing. It's I can't think of the words.
Cultural.
Yeah, it's a different type of cultural thing. But listen, what Coyote Man was just saying, I love listening to him, and I used to try to pick everything he said apart, but I don't now. Listen, because the guy knows some stuff. But this is what I want to know. He just said he'd get a senior wife, then he'd have a sunshine wife, and I didn't get to hear the next kind of wife he would have. But just go with those two women. Don't you think the senior wife, considering that you're in a village setting, that's the mindset that everyone's going to work toward a common goal. Don't you think that senior wife would feed education to your sunshine wife, because she's not going to keep thinking Atlantic City is okay. She's going to mature. She's just going to mature through.
That's when he gets his third.
So she's not going to keep being. You know what I mean? She's not going to keep.
That's when he replaces her.
Well,
and that's what you would want, though. That's what you would want. You would want her to become better and learn from your senior wife who could take over.
You're right.
I understand polygamy in that sense.
You're right. You're right.
I understand that.
You're right. But let me say something to you, because I never got a chance to finish. Right? Okay, it's certain things that men need in their nature. Right? And one is, when I said sunshine, it's not that the senior wife is not sunshine too. I just had to break this down because I didn't know how quick I had.
Okay.
It's like a man needs somebody that is inspired by what he does. A lot of times,
you're so fantastic. You're great. You're wonderful.
Yes. A lot of times,
of
times when a woman gets a little older, she gets set in her ways. She still love him. But she ain't on a cheerleading squad. Let's go. But that young one, but that young one, or that one with that young mentality. My goodness, look at him. It's a known, the Rise family. It's a known polygamy family. If you look at those two wives, the youngest one is like, oh, he's just, and the man needs that, because that's what makes him. That's what makes it. Yeah. And the senior wife, she likes it because it makes her business better. It makes the kingdom better. You know what I'm saying? And she knows she don't want to hop around like that, like the younger.
Yeah. Now listen, let me ask you a question. I'm really because I'm not saying I want to be a polygamist, but I like to understand things. Now see, look, this is what scares me about that, because we're talking about human beings, and although males and females are very different, when, let's just say, you got that, like you're 40 something, right? I'm gonna say you're 40. I'm gonna be 44 soon, so I think you're a little older than me. Let's say you're 47 years old. You got your sunshine wife that's 25. 10 years past, she's 25. You might get, like, she turned 40 and you 60. Like I've heard you say before, and it's true. A man can still go. But you're in a village setting now, and the lady Lucy said she lived in a village of 6,000 people, right? What if your younger wife that you take on, like you take on another 20-something-year-old wife, what if there's a younger husband? What if she, you know what I mean? Don't you feel bad because you can't go as long as 65 as a dude who's 30? Or 28, and he's.
That's not true.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this.
I think that's a great point.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Lucy?
I'm going to disagree with him, because maybe he didn't hear. My father was 72 when I was born.
Message.
So,
But that's
Kojo is 76, and
right.
he's like,
but that's all. Wait a minute. That's all eating good foods and
well,
good health
everything
and
is
stuff.
about how
Yeah.
you take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Everything
exactly.
is
That's
about
the.
how
I
you
think
take
that's
care
the
of
difference.
no,
Yeah.
he's 67.
Yeah.
You don't look.
You're
You would
going
have
to
to
want to
be in
take care of
good
yourself
health.
for longevity, of course.
Yeah.
My grandfather was 90 years old, and if you turned up at my great grandfather, if you turned up at his house at the wrong time, you best to call, because he was. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you gotta remember, we was made to live 1,000+ years. The way we live now is new, and the only reason why we function, we smoking, we drinking, we doing all that stuff. It depends on what you want to be. Now she's gonna have another life if she actually live. But you best believe, unless health fail, I'm gonna be being competitive. I'm gonna keep myself in the gym. I'm gonna keep myself eating correctly. It's my inspiration to stay right for my wife.
Yeah, baby.
baby.
That's
That was
good.
the
Yeah.
point
Oh,
that
now,
she was making.
baby.
You have to be in good shape. You have to take care of yourself.
You
Your
can't take
diet,
on one wife.
your diet has to be right, and a lot of folks are eating mess. They're smoking. They drinking. So at 65, you got a 25-year-old, and your diet and shape isn't the best. Ain't a goddamn thing you're gonna do with that 25-year-old but stare at her ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, yo, I don't want to take a whole bunch. Can I get one more question?
Yeah, come on, Mike.
All right, so look, and to Sharp's point, because this is more realistic. I know this is definitely not a fantasy, but this is an ideal thing that we're talking about. Okay. And the streets of Baltimore aren't ideal. So, ideal is hard to come by, because when you loving Miss 25 and she turned 35, like, you know what I'm saying? It's all, doesn't it seem like you're replacing this one, you replace her. And how do you think that feels to somebody?
Well,
that's what I'll be,
Most of the time, the men is not the ones who actually pick the wives. The women want them to come in, because you got to understand, once people are living like a village, women understand why they need other women. See, we think it's sexually because we live in a sexual world. But when you living in a village mindset, you're thinking about other things. You're thinking about health. You're thinking about the children. You're thinking about, I don't want my grandmother going to a nursing home. I don't want, if I get sick, I want sister wives to come around me to protect me. They got other things they thinking about. They're thinking about real things. Sex is probably, that gets on the list, but it's more serious matters involved in life that we don't even think about, because we living through life just,
Yeah, so
I
we're
got
gonna
you. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Mike.
your call.
Thank you, Mike.
We're gonna wrap up. But I did have a question I didn't get to ask this earlier. Did your dad pick the wives, or did the wives pick the next wife?
No, my dad. But I told you that 2 of them came as gifts. So
right.
But my dad is the one. My dad. People are like, how are you raised Catholic? My dad was Catholic.
Yeah, that was surprising to me as well.
Okay. Was that hard with the culture? Because I know Catholics, or I believe that Catholics start taking on monogamy. So was that hard?
So because back home we had a lot of missionaries that were coming, and the missionaries, I think, did not know what to do with the traditional values that we have set already within our home, and so they kind of just have to skirt around it. So
squirt around. Yeah, a lot of code words.
You have to.
So
Yes.
they squirted around.
See him doing a lot of missionary kept him coming, and then he squirted around. That's how you got here. Amen. Praise God.
Sound like it's been personal to you, Jack.
Yeah.
I had to do that for
That's
Jack.
funny. He always has to come for me. Dad. I mean, he really comes for me. So, Lucy, we definitely appreciated having you on.
Thank you.
You as well, Coyote.
Hey, Lucy, I want your phone number. I want to talk to you.
And he's serious.
I'm serious. This is not.
He's serious.
I know he's serious. I'm taking it very seriously. I do not disagree. Like I told Queen, I said, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're choosing because I believe if we are all honest with ourselves, we can pick what's right for us. You
Right,
know, what
right.
was right for me at 15 may not be what's right for me at 30. We change, we evolve. And as long as we
Absolutely.
set ourselves up and are making sure that we are helping ourselves and helping other people around, then, you know, I have nothing against it.
Right, right.
Okay.
You had a lot of useful information,
Yes.
so we definitely got to have you back on. Definitely informative. I think yeah, we got to do a part 2.
Yeah, I was like,
I
good luck.
think,
You know what? Do it. Do what you gotta
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I ain't
I
finished.
know he's not finished, and I'm gonna hear this for the next few days. You know,
Next week.
So is it okay that I send him your phone number?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, I'll send him your phone number.
But
And
don't
yeah, we
forget
got to
that
do a part 2.
Huh?
hey, don't forget that number one wife you chose though can also be that 23-year-old.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Now listen, I don't disagree with that, but she wouldn't want to be. You know what I'm saying? She want her sleep. She want her sleep, and she know I'm. So
a wise person,
want her
not just
sleep.
about the sex part, but just
No, I'm
about
just
the
playing.
Atlantic
Yeah.
City.
I'm just playing.
No, he not.
But
serious.
what I'm talking about, she could sleep for about it. Truthfully, if she wanted to, she probably could sleep 3 days and wake back up.
Oh my gosh, that's like my sister. I'm like, aren't you gonna wake up soon?
Oh
like,
my
"Oh,
God.
is it?"
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Lucy.
Lucy.
You have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Lynette.
Good night,
Good
Radio
night, everyone.
Land.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. This was a show. Yeah. Yeah, I want everybody to give a closing remark. Starting with you, Sizzling.
Okay, well, this was very informative. A great show. I love the Coyote Man. When he get amped up, he
Yes,
go, he
Lord.
be in it. He in it. And thank you for coming on. Thank you, Jackie and John. That's all I gotta say.
All right, Coyote Man.
Polygamy or die.
Oh my
It's
God.
No, listen. I'm just playing. Listen, I'm just trying to figure out a way for us to put together a kingdom,
Yeah.
put together a village. You know, even if you're not participating, like we using polygamy as a name.
Yeah.
I'm really talking about a kingdom. I'm not talking about whether you have more than one, but you need to put yourself next to a family that does,
Right.
because we need to be able to unify, depend on each other, grow food together, and not depend on some of this other crazy stuff that they're about to try to give us. I don't even care if you're a vegetarian. They're about to do some stuff, and I can't say all that, but I'm just telling you. We need to come together as a family, you know, and it's just that if I have a bigger family, I have more resources. That's all.
Right. Okay, John.
All right. I want to say something a little off because there are people on Facebook watching. Shout out to everybody that showed love today. Today is the 5th year anniversary of my debut album, Imperfect Gentleman.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah, 5 years. That came really quickly. So, and it'll be back on streaming sites really soon.
J. Esco.
Yeah.
Esquire.
Okay.
So,
Nick can mess up a name.
I see. He sees me
I know that I
every
told
week.
you that.
Every week. I'm like, unbelievable.
That's not the name.
That's why I gotta spell stuff out for
My
him, because he
engineer's the
will
one-
mess up a
Listen,
name.
my engineer is the one that caught that.
Okay.
He's like, who's Esco? And I'm like, who? Oh, man.
Escobar.
I'm like, how do you every week?
Oh
But
my
in
God.
closing, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have it. You know what? Bam.
Well, all right.
All right.
Well, I don't have a closeout statement. I'm always grateful for, Coyote Man and my co-host. Shout out to Rich. He couldn't make it tonight. But it was a great show. Kind of eye-opening too in regards to polygamy. I will say, and being honest, it's something I'm still on the fence about. But hell, I'm still on the fence about a relationship. So, there you have it. But yeah, it was great. And we definitely got to do part 2 to dive more into what kingdom building looks like. That's what I would like to talk about next. So good night, folks. Oh, right. My bad. June 9th, Soulful Fridays, every second Friday at Terra Cafe. So We have Larry Lancaster hosting. I had the headliner. I'm sorry. Listen, go with me for a second, okay? Shit. All this polygamy shit, I done got confused.
She ready to put applications together.
So, I got
applications to think about.
I'm taking applications. So yeah, Coyote Man is gonna be one of the acts on the show. John Esquire, not Escobar. Sizzling Shaw, Theo Bossed Up, Mook Man the comedian. We got Tropical Soul. Will be like doors open at 7. Again, June 9th, early bird.
So basically,
tickets.
y'all gonna
Well,
get 10
goddamn,
motherfucking
Bodie.
acts for $25 goddamn dollars.
Okay.
You holler at us early,
I
you
gave
get the shit for $20. Goddamn it. You bet you gonna see 10 motherfuckers for $20 motherfucking dollars.
Well,
there we
it.
go.
There we go.
That's it. Make sure y'all go to Eventbrite. Soul Food Second Fridays. It's gonna be real nice. Live band. All that, y'all. Nice performances. 10 people. 10 great performances for $20 goddamn dollars till Memorial Day. After that, they're going to go up to 25. And if you pan at the door, it's gonna be more.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. And we're going to take after the show photos. Good night, folks. We'll be back the 18th, I believe, right? That's a Thursday. Yeah, we won't be here next week.
All right.
All right.
Until then.
Until then.